I telling Brian outside, I'm gonna make my final decision on what sport, what agency, what financial agency. I'm gonna make up all that stuff probably within the next month or so, just to hear out everybody and figure out who's here for me and separate those who are important and unimportant. So I really do not know yet. I've received a lot of emails and calls from different agencies saying different things. So got some time. I got to sit down and put everything in perspective.
Which sport are you seriously considering football?
Yes, I'm seriously considering football, mainly professionally, but there is a chance that I could come back and play football collegiately. But for what team, what university, I don't know. I do not know yet. But yes, I am seriously considering it.
Have you talked to the football program here?
No, I know I was going to sit down and talk to Jay. I was going to right after the season, but really wanted to get caught back up academically, and I know that they've been busy with preparing for the spring game and getting their personnel all together. So I'm sure that once he's able to calm down and settle down and figure out what he needs to do for his team, I'm sure that he and I will have a conversation.
You put football on the shelf your freshman or sophomore year of high school. What got the fire burning again?
Well, I think I've tried to explain it to everybody that I've always loved football. I've loved it. I love the players. I love the energy, the intensity, the contact, everything about it. I watch a lot of football collegiately and professionally, and it was always something that I wanted to do. However, my father wouldn't let me do that at a young age because he had some personal issues that he went through and when he was younger and in high school, so which prevented him from excelling as much as he wanted. But I was always the guy who, all of my friends when I was younger were all football players and basketball players, and Saturday mornings I would go and root them on and always wish that I could get out there. But I've always had the fire. But I think when you look at my frame compared to some other guys' frames, and then you look at the athleticism and the hunger, I think is something to consider. Maybe I need to get popped one good time and make me to realize that maybe that's not my sport, but for right now it's something I'm thinking about doing.
What position would you play in football?
I would want to play tight end just because I've always been someone who wanted to run some routes and catch a ball. I think I've got fairly good hands, and before last year I was the fastest guy on the team for 2 years. So I've got some speed. I can go ahead and run a little bit, but just something. I think that's the position for me.
What are the basketball options on the table for you right now?
Oh man, I've received a bunch of emails and a bunch of phone calls. I've heard a lot about getting to summer league here in the States, and that was something that of course I wanted to. That's something I really want to be a part of. So I have to take that into consideration. I've received a few European offers and some places in Germany and in Italy. So it's been a lot. It's been a lot. I can't even begin to tell you how many people, but I've received a lot of contacts, and everybody is trying to figure out what's best for me and try to prove their case.
What's the status of the shoulder, and how will that affect whichever sport you pursue in the coming months?
Well, that's right now. That's my biggest concern is my shoulder, and trying to figure out if I need to see a shoulder specialist somewhere around the Pennsylvania area, and seeing what their opinion is on whether or not I need surgery or a scope or whatever the case may be. So I'm waiting to see. I'm waiting to find some type of specialist to see what exactly I need done, and then I'll go about it in the manner that I need to take care of. But if I have surgery, then I'm assuming that I would probably play weight and rehab that and play ball somewhere and go from there. Excuse me, go from there.
What have the Penn State doctors, have they suggested anything? Have they given you indications of what you might need to do?
Well, right now, Dr. Sebastianelli we looked over my MRI on Wednesday, and felt that I would need surgery, which would put me out for 5 to 6 months. So, of course, that wasn't the news that I really wanted to hear, and I respect everything that Dr. Sebastianelli has done for me and the other student athletes around here. So I take his advice and his opinion very seriously, because he's very credible. But at the same time, you just want to take precaution, and maybe somebody else may look at it differently, and he and that person can sit down and discuss what's best for me. But it's just something to look out for.
What's going on with the shoulder? What needs to be repaired?
I don't know the full detail. That's too much medical work, medical language for me. I just know that there was something going on with my capsule, and that's that. I don't want you guys to misword me for anything, but that's something that Dr. Sebastianelli, Dr. Ackerman, and our trainer John Salazar would know more detail about.
Ed was talking about leadership for next year's team a little bit, and saying how there's one or two guys you'd like to see step up. Do you think about who might lead this team next year, and you just wait to see how that plays out, or have you said anything, goalies, or anything to a couple guys?
Good question. I've talked to a couple guys, but those guys know who they are. I think the most important person out of that group is David Jackson to me, because he understands the game, and he knows what he needs to do in order for the team to be successful. I think that Drew has really stepped up and led by example, and he'll have to be more vocal. But it's hard to perform well and at such a high level and be a vocal leader. So it's going to be times where they're going to have to step up and do both, and it's difficult. But I think that outside of Taylor, Drew Jones and David Jackson are going to have to step up, and I think the maturity level of Chris Babb and Jeff Brooks is going to be important for the team's success, and helping the leaders be leaders and allow them to play at a high level.
Did you get a chance to go back to Columbus since the season ended? What's been the reception like there?
It was great. I went back to Columbus this past weekend, actually, and I went to an all-star event, and it was hosted at the Northeast Bruce Howard Recreation Center, which is named after my high school coach, and it was on Saturday, April 11th, which coincidentally enough, it was the 6th year of my coach's passing, and I was there, and I walked in, and people stood up and clapped, and there was a local radio station there, and I was on the radio for a second, and it was just a lot of love. And I don't think that the Columbus area has really ever embraced me in person like that before. But it was great to go back home and just to see family and friends, and to see and talk to those people, and have them explain to me and express to me how much they appreciate what I've done in my career here, but what I've also done for Columbus, and it was good to hear those positive things.
Have you had a chance to kind of sit down and reflect on this past season, and maybe what are you most proud of the year? Well,
I've sat down several times, especially when I'm by myself in my room, just hanging out, and I'm watching TV and just hanging out, looking at pictures and on the internet, looking at certain game film and things. This was a fun year. It was fun. It's been fun on the court, and it's been fun off the court to spend as much time as I spend, or we spend, around each other. I couldn't ask for a better year. We do so much together. We hate each other. We love each other, and we'll do anything for each other. But I think that last game against Baylor was probably the best moment I've had in a while, as far as from a basketball standpoint. Most of my memories come off the court, and most of my fun has come off the court, because those are what college experiences are all about. It's not all about a sport or how many points you score. It's all about just having fun overall. And when we have our locker room talks after practice and after games, and when we're hanging out in the living room at each other's apartment, those are the funnest moments for me. And to reflect on the season, I think is important, and it's been fun overall.